19 celebrities you didn't know were married to each other. What if the couples you thought you knew in Hollywood weren't the real story at all? Behind iconic films, chart-topping hits, and red carpet smiles lie marriages so secretive that even devoted fans missed them entirely. Some lasted decades, others collapsed quietly, but all of them challenge what we think we know about fame, love, and visibility. In today's story, we peel back the curtain on celebrity marriages that existed beyond headlines, relationships built away from flashing cameras and viral gossip. Stay with us, because one revelation may genuinely surprise you. If you love uncovering hidden Hollywood truths, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share your thoughts in the comments. Welcome to Celebrity Couples Hollywood, where real stories spark real conversation. Alyson Hannigan and Alexis Denisof. Alyson Hannigan and Alexis Denisof are one of those Hollywood marriages that quietly disprove the myth that fame and longevity rarely coexist. While many celebrity romances burn brightly and fade fast, their relationship has unfolded steadily, grounded in friendship, patience, and shared values rather than spectacle. Their story began in 1999 on the set of Buffy the Vampire Slayer. Hannigan was already firmly established as Willow Rosenberg, a character who would become iconic in television history. Denisof joined later as Wesley Wyndham Pryce, initially a recurring figure who gradually grew into a fan favorite. Off-screen, their dynamic was far less immediate. Although Hannigan developed an interest early on, Denisof was hesitant about dating a co-star, choosing caution over impulse. Instead of forcing romance, they built a foundation as friends, an approach that would later define their marriage. Over time, familiarity evolved into something deeper. After several years of getting to know each other away from the cameras, they began dating seriously. On October 11, 2003, they married in a 3-day celebration in Desert Hot Springs, California, surrounded by close friends and fellow cast members. The wedding reflected their personalities, warm, intimate, and intentionally private. Family soon became the center of their shared life. They welcomed their first daughter, Satyana Marie, in March 2009, followed by Kiva Jane in May 2012. Unlike many Hollywood couples, Hannigan and Denisof made a conscious effort to raise their children away from excessive media attention, prioritizing stability over visibility. Professionally, both continued working steadily without competing for the spotlight. Hannigan reached a new generation of fans as Lily Aldrin on How I Met Your Mother, a role that ran for 9 seasons and cemented her status as a sitcom mainstay. Amber Tamblyn and David Cross. At first glance, Amber Tamblyn and David Cross seemed like one of Hollywood's most unexpected pairings, an actress and poet associated with introspective drama, and a comedian famous for sharp satire and boundary-pushing humor. Yet behind the contrast lay a partnership built on intellect, creativity, and mutual respect that quietly defied assumptions. The two met in 2007 at a comedy-related event. Tamblyn was 24, already known for Joan of Arcadia and the Sisterhood of the Traveling Pants, while Cross, then 43, had cemented his reputation through Arrested Development and stand-up comedy. Their 19-year age gap immediately drew attention, even causing Cross to hesitate at first. However, conversation, not chemistry alone, became the foundation of their connection. Both shared a deep interest in literature, politics, and social issues, which allowed their bond to grow slowly and deliberately. After 4 years of dating, Cross proposed in 2011, and the couple married on October 6, 2012, in an intimate outdoor ceremony that reflected their unconventional spirit. Rather than chasing spectacle, they chose privacy and authenticity. In 2017, they welcomed their daughter, whose life they have kept largely out of the public eye. A deliberate decision in line with their values. Tamblyn has continued to evolve beyond acting, establishing herself as a respected poet, author, and feminist voice. Her writing often explores power, identity, and womanhood, themes she has said are supported, never overshadowed, by her marriage. Cross remains active in comedy and acting, while openly acknowledging how fatherhood reshaped his worldview. What makes their relationship remarkable is not longevity alone, but balance. They have never attempted to merge identities or soften their individuality for public comfort. As of 2025, more than 12 years into marriage, Amber Tamblyn and David Cross stand as proof that compatibility is not about similarity, but shared curiosity, honesty, and respect, qualities far more enduring than first impressions. Angelina Jolie and Jonny Lee Miller. Long before Angelina Jolie became a global icon of cinema and humanitarian work, she shared a brief yet memorable marriage with British actor Jonny Lee Miller, a chapter of her life many fans still find surprising. The two met in 1995 on the set of the cult film Hackers, where they portrayed rebellious young programmers navigating a digital underground. Their on-screen chemistry quickly translated off-screen, fueled by youth, intensity, and a shared sense of individuality. At the time, both were rising stars, still shaping their identities within Hollywood. They married in March 1996, in a ceremony that reflected Jolie's unconventional nature. Famously, she wore black rubber pants and a white t-shirt with Miller's name written in her own blood, a symbolic gesture that later became pop culture lore. Despite the dramatic imagery, their marriage itself remained largely private. The union was short-lived. They separated in early 1997, and their divorce was finalized on February 3, 1999. Notably, there were no public scandals or bitter disputes. In later interviews, Jolie spoke respectfully of Miller, describing him as solid, intelligent, and someone she genuinely cared for. Miller likewise never publicly criticized the relationship. Both went on to dramatically different paths. Jolie won an Academy Award in 2000 and later became a UN humanitarian figure, while Miller earned acclaim through television, notably Elementary, and stage work. Decades later, their connection resurfaced briefly in public consciousness when Jolie was spotted visiting Miller's apartment in 2021, sparking speculation, though both maintained privacy and offered no confirmation of anything beyond friendship. Their marriage may have been brief, but it remains a striking reminder that even fleeting relationships can leave lasting impressions. Angelina Jolie and Jonny Lee Miller represent a formative chapter, less about duration, more about timing, growth, and the unpredictable paths love can take. Anna Paquin and Stephen Moyer. The love story of Anna Paquin and Stephen Moyer feels almost too cinematic to be real, yet it stands as one of the rare cases where an on-screen romance evolved into a lasting, real-life marriage. Their paths crossed in 2007 during auditions for HBO's True Blood, where Paquin was cast as Sookie Stackhouse, and Moyer landed the role of the brooding vampire Bill Compton. From the earliest episodes, their chemistry was undeniable, and it soon extended beyond the script. Despite intense fan attention and early rumors, the couple initially kept their relationship private. They officially confirmed they were together in 2009, the same year Moyer proposed. On August 21, 2010, they married in a ceremony held in Malibu, California, surrounded by close friends, family, and True Blood castmates. Their union surprised some fans who assumed the passion belonged only to television, but for Paquin and Moyer, the show was merely the beginning. In September 2012, they welcomed fraternal twins, Charlie and Poppy, marking a new chapter that required balancing demanding careers with family life. Paquin, who won an Academy Award at age 11 for The Piano, continued working in film and television while also stepping into producing. Moyer, originally known for British television and theater, expanded into directing and behind-the-scenes roles. Together, they founded CASM Films, a production company that allowed them to collaborate creatively beyond acting. Over the years, both have spoken about the importance of communication, mutual respect, and consciously separating work from home life. especially after sharing such an intense on-screen partnership. As of 2025, Anna Paquin and Stephen Moyer have been married for nearly 15 years. Their relationship has endured industry pressure, fan obsession, and the challenge of working together, proving that sometimes a scripted love story can grow into something real, stable, and deeply grounded. Charlie Day and Mary Elizabeth Ellis. Few couples embody the contrast between chaotic on-screen comedy and calm, real-life partnership as perfectly as Charlie Day and Mary Elizabeth Ellis. While audiences know them as one of television's most dysfunctional pairings on It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia, their real-life relationship is built on respect, privacy, and quiet endurance. Day and Ellis met in 2001 while working in the New York theater scene, long before Always Sunny became a cult phenomenon. Their bond formed gradually through shared artistic ambition and mutual understanding. When It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia began development in 2004, Day was a co-creator and lead actor, while Ellis later joined the cast as the Waitress, a recurring character defined by absurdity and emotional chaos. What surprises many fans is that the couple was already together before the show gained popularity. They married on March 4, 2006, choosing a private ceremony that reflected their preference for keeping personal milestones out of the spotlight. In December 2011, they welcomed their son, a life change that further solidified their commitment to privacy. Professionally, Day became widely recognized for his work on Always Sunny, Horrible Bosses, and voice roles in major animated films. Ellis built a steady television career with appearances in Reno 9/11, The Grinder, Santa Clarita Diet, and various comedy projects. Although they occasionally collaborate, they are careful not to let work define their marriage. In interviews, both have emphasized the importance of separating professional personas from real life, noting that their exaggerated on-screen dynamic bears no resemblance to their actual relationship. As of 2025, they have been together for more than 2 decades and married for 19 years, a rare achievement in television comedy. Charlie Day and Mary Elizabeth Ellis prove that even the wildest fictional romances can hide one of Hollywood's most grounded and enduring real-life marriages. Christie Brinkley and Billy Joel. In the 1980s, Christie Brinkley and Billy Joel embodied a rare fusion of fashion, music, and celebrity magnetism. She was one of the world's most recognizable supermodels, gracing the covers of Vogue and Sports Illustrated, while he was a chart-topping singer-songwriter whose music defined a generation. Together, they became a cultural symbol of glamour and artistic success. Their story began in 1983 during a vacation in the Caribbean. At the time, Joel was already an established musical force, and Brinkley was at the peak of her modeling career. Their connection was immediate and highly public, capturing media attention almost instantly. On March 23, 1985, they married aboard a yacht in New York Harbor, a wedding as iconic as the couple themselves. That same year, Brinkley famously appeared in Joel's music video for Uptown Girl, a song that became inseparable from her image and helped cement their status as a pop culture power couple. Later in 1985, they welcomed their daughter Alexa Ray Joel, named in honor of Ray Charles. For nearly a decade, they were seen as one of entertainment's golden unions. However, fame carried weight. Joel's relentless touring schedule, combined with the pressures of public life, gradually strained the marriage. In August 1994, after 9 years together, the couple finalized their divorce. Despite the separation, their story did not dissolve into bitterness. Both have consistently spoken respectfully of one another, prioritizing co-parenting and mutual admiration. As of 2025, their marriage is remembered not as a failure, but as a defining chapter in pop culture history, one that produced lasting music, an accomplished daughter, and an enduring sense of grace. Christie Brinkley and Billy Joel remain a reminder that even when love changes form, its impact can still resonate for decades. Christina Hendricks and Jeffrey Arend. Christina Hendricks and Jeffrey Arend were never the loudest couple in Hollywood, but for a decade, they represented a refreshing model of quiet partnership built on humor, affection, and mutual support. Hendricks, celebrated for her Emmy-nominated portrayal of Joan Holloway on Mad Men, was rising rapidly in prestige television, while Arend maintained a steady acting career across film and television. They met in 2007 through a mutual friend, actor Vincent Kartheiser, Hendricks' co-star on Mad Men. Their connection developed quickly, and on October 11, 2009, they married in an intimate ceremony in New York City. The wedding reflected their shared preference for warmth over spectacle. Throughout their marriage, the couple made frequent red carpet appearances and were often praised for their playful, affectionate dynamic. Hendricks regularly credited Arend's humor and emotional steadiness as grounding forces amid her growing fame. Notably, they chose not to have children, focusing instead on careers, travel, and shared creative interests. Professionally, Hendricks continued building a respected body of work in television and film, while Arend appeared in projects such as 500 Days of Summer, Madam Secretary, and Body of Proof. Despite their visibility, they managed to stay largely out of tabloid drama, a rarity in the industry. In October 2019, after nearly 10 years of marriage, Hendricks and Arend announced their separation through a joint statement. They described the decision as mutual and respectful, emphasizing gratitude rather than conflict. The news surprised many fans as the couple had long projected stability and closeness. While no longer together, Christina Hendricks and Jeffrey Arend remain a testament to a marriage that existed away from noise and scandal. Their story reminds audiences that even relationships that end can be meaningful, dignified, and rooted in genuine connection. Christine Taylor and Ben Stiller. For more than 2 decades, Christine Taylor and Ben Stiller have represented a rare Hollywood arc, one that includes love, separation, and a thoughtful reunion. Their story is not defined by perfection, but by growth, patience, and a shared commitment to family. They first met in 1999 while filming an unaired television pilot. The connection was immediate, and less than a year later they married on May 13, 2000, during an intimate ceremony in Hawaii. At the time, both were already familiar faces. Taylor from Hey Dude and the Brady Bunch movie, and Stiller from There's Something About Mary and the Ben Stiller Show. Their marriage quickly became intertwined with their professional lives. They appeared together in several hit comedies, including Zoolander, 2001, Dodgeball, 2004, Tropic Thunder, 2008, and Zoolander 2, 2016. Often exaggerating fictional dynamics that contrasted with their grounded private life. Together, they welcomed 2 children, Ella Olivia, 2002, and Quinlan Dempsey, 2005, and worked intentionally to keep family life out of constant media exposure. In May 2017, after 17 years of marriage, the couple announced their separation. The news surprised fans, particularly given their close working relationship. However, the story didn't end there. During the COVID-19 lockdowns in 2020, Taylor and Stiller reconnected while quarantining together with their children. In 2022, Stiller confirmed publicly that they had reconciled, describing the reunion as gradual, natural, and rooted in renewed understanding. As of 2025, Christine Taylor and Ben Stiller remain together, having navigated one of Hollywood's most honest relationship journeys. Their story stands out not for drama, but for showing that long-term love can evolve, and sometimes return stronger than before. Elisabeth Moss and Fred Armisen. The brief marriage between Elisabeth Moss and Fred Armisen remains one of Hollywood's most surprising and cautionary unions. Both highly accomplished in their fields, their relationship unfolded rapidly and ended just as quickly, leaving a lasting impression largely because of its contrast to their public personas. They met in 2008 when Moss guest starred on Saturday Night Live, where Armisen had been a cast member since 2002. Their connection was immediate and intense. Within months, they became engaged, and on October 25, 2009, they married in Long Island, New York. At the time, Moss was earning acclaim for Mad Men, while Armisen was transitioning into new creative territory beyond sketch comedy. However, the marriage struggled almost from the start. By June 2010, less than a year after the wedding, they had separated. Their divorce was finalized on May 13, 2011. In later interviews, Moss described the experience as deeply painful and emotionally overwhelming, choosing to share little beyond acknowledging how difficult it was. Armisen later addressed his role in the breakdown during a 2013 interview, openly admitting that he had been emotionally unavailable and not prepared for marriage at that stage of his life. His candor marked a rare moment of accountability in public discussions of celebrity breakups. Following the divorce, both moved forward professionally. Moss went on to earn widespread acclaim and multiple awards for The Handmaid's Tale, while Armisen co-created and starred in Portlandia and continued his work across comedy and music. Though short-lived, Elisabeth Moss and Fred Armisen's marriage remains a striking reminder that timing, emotional readiness, and self-awareness matter as much as chemistry. Their story is not about scandal, but about lessons learned under the harsh spotlight of fame. Isla Fisher and Sacha Baron Cohen. At first glance, Isla Fisher and Sacha Baron Cohen seemed like an unlikely match. Her image defined by warmth and romantic comedy, his by outrageous satire and provocative characters. Yet beneath the contrast lies one of Hollywood's most private and enduring marriages. They met in 2002 at a party in Sydney, Australia, and their connection was immediate. Despite their very different public personas, both shared a strong sense of humor, intelligence, and a desire to keep personal life away from constant media attention. After 2 years of dating, they became engaged in 2004, beginning an unusually long engagement that lasted 6 years. One reason for the delay was Fisher's decision to convert to Judaism, a process she later described as deeply personal and meaningful rather than symbolic. On March 15, 2010, the couple married in a quiet ceremony in Paris, attended by only 6 guests. The secrecy was intentional, reinforcing their commitment to privacy in an industry fueled by exposure. Together, they have 3 children, born in 2007, 2010, and 2015, whose lives they have kept firmly out of the spotlight. Fisher has continued acting steadily in films and television, while Baron Cohen has balanced his signature satirical projects with more dramatic roles, including The Trial of the Chicago 7. Throughout their marriage, they have rarely spoken publicly about their relationship, and even more rarely appeared together on red carpets. This discretion has become their defining strength. As of 2025, they have been married for 15 years, a remarkable feat given the pressures of global fame. Isla Fisher and Sacha Baron Cohen prove that lasting love in Hollywood doesn't require constant visibility. Sometimes the strongest relationships are the ones audiences see the least. Jared Padalecki and Genevieve Cortez. The love story of Jared Padalecki and Genevieve Cortese is one of television's most authentic, met-on-set romances, one that grew naturally, away from manufactured drama. Their paths crossed in 2008 during Season 4 of Supernatural, when Cortese joined the cast as Ruby, a demon whose presence complicated the Winchester brothers' world. Padalecki, already a fan favorite as Sam Winchester, was immediately struck, though their first meeting was famously awkward due to the circumstances of filming. Despite the unconventional start, the two formed a genuine connection off-screen. They began dating later that year, choosing to keep the relationship relatively private while navigating the intense production schedule of a long-running series. In October 2009, Padalecki proposed to Cortese at the Metropolitan Museum of Art in New York City, selecting a meaningful and quiet setting rather than a flashy public moment. They married on February 27, 2010, in Sun Valley, Idaho, Cortese's hometown. The ceremony was intimate, attended by family, close friends, and several Supernatural castmates. Over the years, the couple built a family-first lifestyle that stood in contrast to the demands of network television. They welcomed 3 children, 2 sons and a daughter, born in 2012, 2013, and 2017. While Padalecki remained a central figure on Supernatural for 15 seasons and later led Walker, Cortese gradually stepped back from full-time acting, making occasional appearances while prioritizing parenting and home life. The family eventually settled in Austin, Texas, where they embraced a grounded, community-oriented way of living. As of 2025, Jared Padalecki and Genevieve Cortese have been married for 15 years, proving that a relationship born under studio lights can thrive long after the cameras stop rolling when built on mutual respect, shared values, and emotional honesty. Jeffrey Dean Morgan and Hilarie Burton. Jeffrey Dean Morgan and Hilarie Burton are a rare Hollywood couple who deliberately chose a life far from red carpets, and in doing so, built one of the industry's strongest partnerships. They met in 2009 through mutual friends Jensen and Daniil Ackles, forming a connection rooted in authenticity rather than image. At the time, Morgan was known for roles in Supernatural and Watchmen, while Burton had recently left One Tree Hill. Instead of chasing Hollywood momentum together, they made an unconventional decision early on, moving away from Los Angeles to a working farm in Rhinebeck, New York. This shift shaped their relationship, grounding it in shared responsibility and simplicity. They welcomed their first child, a son named Augustus, in March 2010, followed by their daughter, George Virginia, in February 2018. Parenthood strengthened their bond, but they intentionally avoided formalizing their relationship for years, prioritizing commitment over ceremony. It wasn't until October 5, 2019, after nearly a decade together, that they officially married in a private celebration attended by close friends. The couple has collaborated professionally as well, most notably on The Walking Dead, where Burton portrayed Lucille, the wife of Morgan's character Negan. Their real-life connection added emotional depth to the storyline, resonating strongly with longtime fans. Both Morgan and Burton have spoken openly about challenges including fertility struggles, mental health, and the pressures of fame, earning admiration for their honesty. As of 2025, they continue to balance successful careers with farm life and family priorities. Jeffrey Dean Morgan and Hilarie Burton prove that love doesn't need constant visibility to thrive. Sometimes, stepping away from the spotlight is exactly what allows it to last. Jennifer Grey and Clark Gregg. For many fans, it still comes as a surprise that Jennifer Grey and Clark Gregg were once husband and wife, a union that quietly endured for nearly 2 decades in an industry known for fleeting romances. Their relationship was never built on spectacle, but on shared values, privacy, and mutual respect. The couple met in the early 2000s, forming a connection grounded in creativity and emotional compatibility rather than celebrity status. On July 21, 2001, they married in an intimate ceremony, choosing a life largely shielded from tabloid attention. At the time, Grey was forever etched into pop culture history as Baby from Dirty Dancing, while Gregg was steadily building a career that would later make him globally recognizable as Agent Phil Coulson in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. In December 2001, just months after their wedding, they welcomed their daughter, Stella Gregg, who became the center of their shared priorities. Throughout their marriage, Grey and Gregg maintained a relatively low public profile, rarely courting headlines or turning their relationship into a public narrative. Professionally, both continued to evolve. Grey appeared in film and television projects while navigating the complicated legacy of early fame. Gregg's career gained momentum with Iron Man, 2008, eventually leading to a long-running role on Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Though they occasionally crossed professional paths, most notably with guest appearances on television, they largely kept work and marriage separate. After 19 years of marriage, the couple announced their separation on July 3, 2020, describing their time together as a beautiful ride. Their divorce was finalized on February 16, 2021, and notably, the split was handled with grace and mutual respect. They have continued to co-parent Stella amicably, often emphasizing gratitude rather than regret. Jennifer Grey and Clark Gregg stand out not because of drama, but because of how quietly and thoughtfully they navigated both love and separation, proving that even in Hollywood, endings can be dignified and sincere. Lisa Marie Presley and Nicolas Cage. The marriage between Lisa Marie Presley and Nicolas Cage was brief, intense, and unforgettable, largely because it united two of the most famous last names in entertainment. Yet, despite its high-profile nature, the relationship remains one of Hollywood's most surprising and least understood unions. They met in 2000 at a party, and according to Cage, the connection was immediate and overwhelming. Lisa Marie Presley, the only daughter of Elvis Presley, carried a legacy unlike any other. Cage, an Academy Award-winning actor and lifelong Elvis admirer, found himself drawn deeply into her world. Their courtship moved quickly, culminating in a private wedding on August 10, 2002, in Hawaii. However, the marriage unraveled almost as fast as it began. Just 107 days later, Cage filed for divorce on November 25, 2002. The legal proceedings extended until May 16, 2004, when the divorce was finalized. Both later acknowledged that the relationship was fueled by emotion rather than stability. Cage would later describe the marriage as a mistake driven by unpredictability and intensity, while Presley characterized it as passionate but unsustainable. There were no children from the union, and no public feuds followed, only reflection. Despite its short duration, the marriage captured public fascination because of what it symbolized: legacy meeting obsession, mythology colliding with modern celebrity. Presley, who had previously been married to Michael Jackson, and Cage, known for his unconventional choices, both continued on complex personal paths after their split. Lisa Marie Presley and Nicolas Cage remain a striking reminder that even the most powerful names cannot guarantee longevity. Sometimes, the most shocking Hollywood marriages are not the ones that last, but the ones that burn brightest, fastest, and leave a lasting cultural imprint. Paula Abdul and Emilio Estevez. In the early 1990s, Paula Abdul and Emilio Estevez were a quietly powerful Hollywood pairing, so discreet that many fans today are surprised to learn they were ever married. At the time, Abdul was one of the most influential pop stars and choreographers in the world, while Estevez was firmly established as a leading actor and director associated with the Brat Pack generation. The two began dating in the late 1980s, drawn together by shared creativity and mutual respect rather than publicity. Abdul was riding the massive success of albums like Forever Your Girl and Spellbound, dominating charts and award shows. Estevez, meanwhile, had already starred in films such as The Breakfast Club and Young Guns, while also moving behind the camera as a filmmaker. They married on April 29, 1992, in a private ceremony attended only by close friends and family. Despite their fame, the couple made a conscious effort to keep their relationship out of the spotlight. There were no extravagant headlines or highly publicized appearances, an unusual approach during an era obsessed with celebrity spectacle. However, fundamental differences soon emerged. Abdul has spoken openly about her strong desire to start a family, while Estevez, who already had children from a previous relationship, did not want more. This divergence in life priorities ultimately became impossible to reconcile. On May 10, 1994, just 2 years after their wedding, they finalized their divorce. In later interviews, Abdul described the separation as deeply painful but necessary, emphasizing that the decision was mutual and handled with maturity. Notably, the split occurred without scandal, bitterness, or public feuds, something rare for high-profile divorces of that era. Today, Paula Abdul and Emilio Estevez are remembered less for the end of their marriage and more for how quietly and respectfully it unfolded. Rachel Weisz and Daniel Craig. Despite being one of the most recognizable acting couples of their generation, Rachel Weisz and Daniel Craig have built a marriage defined almost entirely by privacy. Their union remains surprising not because of drama, but because of how successfully it has stayed out of public view. Weisz and Craig first met in the 1990s through London's theater scene, though nothing romantic developed at the time. Years later, fate brought them together again while filming the psychological thriller Dream House in 2010, where they portrayed husband and wife on screen. Both were newly single, and their reconnection quickly evolved into a real relationship. The pace was swift, but deliberate. On June 22, 2011, they married in an ultra-private ceremony in New York, attended by only 4 guests, including Craig's daughter and Weisz's son from previous relationships. The secrecy was intentional, reflecting their shared belief that intimacy thrives best away from constant scrutiny. In September 2018, the couple welcomed a daughter together, whose name they have never publicly disclosed. Parenthood further reinforced their commitment to privacy, and since then, they have rarely appeared together in interviews or on red carpets. Professionally, both continued thriving. Craig completed his tenure as James Bond with No Time to Die, while Weisz delivered acclaimed performances in films such as The Favorite and the Marvel Universe's Black Widow. They have consistently supported each other's work without turning their marriage into a publicity tool. As of 2025, Rachel Weisz and Daniel Craig have been married for over 13 years. In an industry fueled by exposure, their relationship stands out precisely because of its restraint. Their story proves that sometimes the most unexpected Hollywood marriages are the ones you barely see, yet quietly endure. Richard Gere and Cindy Crawford. In the early 1990s, Richard Gere and Cindy Crawford were the embodiment of Hollywood glamour, an A-list movie star and a supermodel at the height of her global influence. Their relationship captivated the media, yet many fans today are surprised to remember that they were, in fact, married. They met in 1988 at a casual barbecue hosted by photographer Herb Ritts. At the time, Gere was 39, already a leading man known for films like American Gigolo and An Officer and a Gentleman. Crawford was just 22, dominating runways and magazine covers worldwide. Despite the 17-year age gap, their connection deepened over several years of dating. On December 12, 1991, they married in a secret civil ceremony in Las Vegas. The wedding was deliberately understated, reportedly using borrowed rings, and announced only after the fact. Yet privacy proved difficult. Their marriage unfolded under relentless media scrutiny, with tabloids dissecting every appearance and rumor. Over time, differences in life stage and priorities became harder to ignore. Crawford later reflected that they lacked the kind of friendship necessary for long-term partnership, noting how age and experience shaped their expectations differently. On December 1, 1995, after 4 years of marriage, they divorced. There were no children from the union. Importantly, the split was not marked by scandal. Both went on to build fulfilling personal and professional lives, and Crawford has spoken candidly, yet respectfully, about the relationship in later years. Today, Richard Gere and Cindy Crawford remain a striking example of a glamorous pairing whose marriage was real, brief, and quietly influential. Proof that even the most photogenic love stories can be shaped by timing as much as passion. Sarah Michelle Gellar and Freddie Prinze Jr. Few Hollywood marriages have endured as gracefully and as quietly as Sarah Michelle Gellar and Freddie Prinze Jr. What began as a teen-era casting connection grew into one of the industry's most stable, long-term partnerships. They first met in 1997 while filming the slasher hit I Know What You Did Last Summer. Though they didn't date immediately, a dinner with mutual friends 3 years later unexpectedly turned into a one-on-one evening, sparking a romance that deepened quickly. Prinz proposed in April 2001, and on September 1, 2002, they married in a private ceremony in Mexico. At the time, both were at the height of fame, Geller as Buffy Summers on Buffy the Vampire Slayer, and Prinz as a leading man in films like She's All That. Rather than capitalizing on celebrity momentum, they chose a low-profile family life. They welcomed 2 children, Charlotte Grace, 2009, and Rocky James, 2012. Over the years, both stepped back from constant spotlight. Geller explored entrepreneurship and selective acting, while Prinz transitioned into voice acting, writing, and cooking projects. They occasionally collaborate, most notably lending voices to Star Wars Rebels, but maintain clear boundaries between work and home. As of 2025, they have been married for over 22 years, a remarkable milestone in Hollywood. Their relationship is defined not by spectacle, but by consistency, mutual support, and deliberate privacy. Sarah Michelle Gellar and Freddie Prinze Jr. prove that lasting love doesn't need headlines, only commitment renewed over time. After hearing these stories, one question remains unavoidable. Does privacy protect love, or does fame slowly erode it no matter what? Some of these couples thrived by staying invisible, while others crumbled despite deep affection and commitment. Were these marriages forgotten because they failed, or because they refused to perform for the public? In an era where relationships are often measured by online visibility, these hidden unions challenge our definition of success in love. Which couple shocked you the most, and which story changed how you see celebrity marriages? Let us know your honest opinion in the comments. Your voice matters here. Join the discussion, support the channel, and keep exploring untold stories with Celebrity Couples Hollywood.